Yesterday, I had a message from an artist who was feeling pretty down about their Spotify numbers. They said, nothing I'm doing is working. Nobody is listening to my music on Spotify. What am I doing wrong? Is it the music? They even doubted themselves when it came down to the music, which is sad because music is so subjective. And I don't know about you, but I listen to plenty of music that doesn't have millions and millions of streams. In fact, you send me music, lots of you send me music that I love that subjectively isn't massive. In fact, I don't listen to any mainstream pop music, and I would go as far as to say there's plenty of music out there with billions of streams that I personally think is utter turd. So it doesn't actually mean there's a correlation between having bad music just because you aren't having the streams that you'd like. So I thought today I would give you a 25 rule plan that you could start to implement from today to build your strategy, build your Spotify numbers, making sure that you're actually getting this stuff out there. And I'm going to do this in detail, but at the end, I'm also going to give you that bullet point fashion. I'm going to give you as much information as I can possibly do it in a very short amount of time. So in case you don't know me, my name's Damian Keys, and come and be a part of this community. If you are an aspiring musician, if you want to get more streams, if you want to build that audience, then that's what we do every day. So hit that subscribe button. But let's make a start. So I'm going to do 25 bullet points. Number one, you need to understand the game. Now, this bit's really important. When I say understanding the game, so many times when I'm sat in meetings, and this is with major record labels and major record label artists, so many times they think that the game is going viral on platforms like TikTok. And for me, I'm like, that's not the game. That's a nice outcome. I would like that to happen, but that's not the game. The game is to build a dedicated fan base, because that fan base will do things. They will buy. They will come to the gig. They'll buy some merch, for example. They'll tell their friends about you. They will shout from the rooftops. That, to me, is the game. If you manage to go viral, or if you're playing that game of trying to go viral, you've got a big problem. Because if you want to go viral, then I'm going to throw you out of a helicopter, or I'm going to, throw you in a swimming pool, or make you wrestle an alligator, because I know that's going to go viral. That's not going to help you build a dedicated fan base around your music. That's going to probably help you build a dedicated fan base around being the funny person, or doing some dance trends. So you've got to be really careful with the game that you're playing. And for me, the game is building a dedicated fan base, which means we have to make sure that every piece of content that we're doing features you, your talent, and your music. Otherwise, you are building a fan base for the wrong reasons. Number two, I want you to think about building your calendar. For me, my entire life is ruled around a calendar. I plan my week, all of the meetings, everything that I do, because if I don't, I tend to go into the day just bumbling along thinking, what is it that I've got to do? Maybe I'll have a little to-do list. Whereas if I've got a calendar, all of a sudden I can achieve 3, 4, 5 times the amount in a day that I normally would. I know exactly where I'm supposed to be and what it is I'm supposed to be achieving for that hour, for that day, for that week, and for that month. And for me, that is a huge weight off my mind. It takes all of the anxiety because I let the calendar guide me. The next thing, number 3, is about going missing. Stop going missing. Now, obviously, part of my job is I look through loads and loads and loads of artists' social media. It's kind of a daily occurrence. One thing I notice is this sort of almost tensing the muscle. I can tense the muscle for a certain amount of time, but the problem then is the muscle starts to kind of, give out on me, and then all of a sudden I've stopped tensing the muscle. Same thing with social media. I notice this kind of flurries, so I get like 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, maybe even a month of content. And I'm like, oh, this is going really well. But then you go missing. You go missing for 2 weeks, or even a week, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you're back into it again. You know what it's like. Now, the problem with this is not only are you telling the people who like you that you've gone, so they're all of a sudden going to start looking for more content from somebody else, and you're vanishing off the algorithm, but you're doing the same for the platform as well. Imagine if that was a relationship where you were chatting with someone and you were like, yeah, I'm all in. All of a sudden you go missing for 2 weeks. They're going to be like, oh, I can't really count on you. And it's the same thing with social media. It would be better off, rather than setting yourself an unrealistic goal of posting 15 times a day and trying to stick to it, be better off saying, no, I'm going to make content regularly, consistently, as high content value as I can. And if that means it's every 2 or 3 days, I would rather do that and have it consistent rather than trying to do too much at a time and then feeling like you're burned out, you've got the anxiety, and you need to go missing. Number 4, this is almost counterintuitive, but stop copying successful artists. Now, what I mean by this is, If you get a huge, massive artist that's been around for the last 10 years and you say, well, that's what they do on their social media, they have a totally different perspective to you because they've already built up a huge following. They've probably got a different level of finance and financial backing behind them. They can exhaust the creative in a lot longer. By that, I mean, if they put a single out, they can do so much more with it for promotion than you can. So if you copy that strategy, then you're copying a strategy from someone who is way, way down the line. It doesn't quite work. So I am all in for looking around and trying to pick bits out. But this strategy has to be about you and where you are and your audience, your demographic, and everything about you and your music. And copying a very successful artist's strategy isn't probably necessarily going to work. So I want this strategy to be about you and how we're going to start building these numbers and fan base into Spotify. Number 5, understanding your demographic. This is so big. How are we going to get people into you and into your music and into across to Spotify if we don't know who it is we're targeting? There's 8.5 billion people in the world, but out of those 8.5 billion people, who are the people who should like your music? And it's not just an age thing, although that is a part of it. And the other day I was having a conversation. I said, what's the demographic? They went, it's kind of like 15 to 35. And in my head, I was like, there's a huge difference between 15 and 17, let alone 15 and 35. 15-year-old trying to get laid, 35-year-olds probably getting divorced. So completely different demographic right there. So we've got to be really careful with the demographic. I want you to be pushing your content out to the right people. And if you're pushing it out to the right people and those people are seeing it and buying into it, what you're actually doing is you are telling the platform, because the platform, let's say TikTok, for example, starts to pick up on this familiarity, all of these similar traits with the demographic. And then all of a sudden they start going, I see, I figured it out. And that's when they say, right, let me push this out to some more people because I've started to figure it out. But it's up to you to guide it. You have to guide the content. You have to guide the music. You have to guide the SEO, the description, everything about it so that the platform and the audience understands. And that way you are building your tribe. The next thing after that is number 6, stop changing the strategy too quickly, okay? So when it comes to changing, imagine if this was the gym. Let's look at a gym reference. If all of a sudden I was like, I want to get ripped, I want to be beefcake, great, fantastic. But then the next week I'm like, I think I want to run some marathons, like counterintuitive. So what we've got to do is we have to have our strategy. Our strategy should probably go for the next 6 months, maybe 9 months, with what you're going to do when it comes to single releases or EPs or albums or tours or everything else. And then what we should do is we should start to build our strategy around the long term, going to the end and working our way backwards. All too often, I'll see someone put a single out and go, it didn't work, and then completely change. What we've got to do is we've got to throw something out there and we've got to tweak it. We've got to say, hang on, I know, in this message I got, nothing's working. Well, okay, hang on. Was nothing working, or were there a few little bits? Did we try enough times to see whether something's working properly, or did we just throw it out and just go, that didn't work, oh well, on to the next thing? So we have to give something time to bed in. Make enough pieces of content, make enough music, produce enough music and put enough music out there to find out if what you're doing is sitting well, is hitting well. And so from that point of view, what we can do is we can start to hone it. We can start to improve these 1%. That bit's really important. But then on the other side of things, number 7 is stop repeating the mistakes. Now, I'm not saying, stop what you're doing, but the definition of madness is doing the same thing round and round and expecting a different result. Well, the same thing here is if you can spot the treasure, you can probably spot the mistakes as well. If you can find something and say, that wasn't good enough, that didn't really work, well, we can tweak that. What we don't want to be doing is saying, I put a single out, it didn't work, oh well, let's go again. Because what we're doing then is we're treating this like the lottery. I'm going to throw it out there and hopefully someone will hear it. Hopefully Mr. EMI will be walking past and go, oh, wait a minute, that's amazing, I love it, I'm going to sign it, this is going to be the biggest thing in the world. It doesn't work like that. So if we're putting stuff out and it's not working, we have to figure out where the gold is, but we also have to figure out what's not working. What are the areas that we can improve? Because if we can improve things, well, we can do that time and time and time again, and over a period, once we know what's working and what's not, we can implement this 1% strategy. Number 8 is answer this question. This, to me, is probably the most important question when it comes to building a fan base, okay? And it's not about you. It's about me, the consumer. It's about me who potentially could come in, see your content, and hit the follow button. That question is, what do I get? Not what do you get? What do I get? If I'm the consumer, what do I get, okay? Because I think we live in a world now where I'll hit the follow button. I'll follow you. I'll hit a subscribe button and I'll subscribe to your YouTube. Do you know what? I'll even give you my email address. I will give you my email address. All you've got to do is answer that question. What do I get? I'll give you my email address. What do I get? Now, if you give me an answer I don't like, well, I'm not going to give you my email address and I'm not going to give you the follow button and I'm not going to subscribe. But if you could answer that question and say, what do I get? And you say, well, I tell you what, if you hit the follow button, you're going to get this type of content regularly in these times, in these formats. And if I say, I like that, I really relate to you, I connect with you, I have that sort of connection, therefore, I like it, I'll hit the follow button, then I will. So therefore, before we start thinking of Spotify, let's bring people in and make sure they're hitting the follow button. They will hit the follow button if they understand who you are and what you're giving them. Not what you do, but what they get out of it. Because the consumer or the listener, they're the most important person in this journey. Now, number 9, resist advertising. Now, this one's a really tough one. I work with so many artists that just cannot resist at all times. They're just desperate to say those words. My new single's out, or go watch my YouTube video. Go and do the thing that I want to do. Now, that's a form of advertising. There's a problem with this, which is if you use that tactic in social media, which is where people want to be entertained, not advertised to, they want to be entertained. If they understand and they like it, they will do the thing that you want them to do. Subconsciously, I like that music. I think it's really great. Well, I'm going to go and listen to it on Spotify. Hey, that music video, that looks really good. Maybe I want to go and watch the music video. We don't need to keep telling people all the time. But as soon as we understand it's an advert, it's almost like we feel like we've been duped. And we're like, it was an advert. And then we leave straight away because we're like, I don't want to be advertised to. Now, the problem with that is you're not just potentially breaking the algorithm within that piece of content. You're doing it for the next one as well. Because all of a sudden, you said, hey, by the way, I'm probably going to give you an advert. And people go, I don't want the adverts. I'm out. So you're potentially breaking multiple pieces of content or multiple ways of getting attention when you already had the attention. You were already doing the right thing. So just try very hard to resist the advertising, knowing full well that people know where to listen to music. They know where to go and watch music videos. And they know if they come in that they can watch more content. We don't need to keep advertising to them. Number 10, go where the attention is, right? So I was chatting to this guy the other day and they were like, I'm not going on TikTok. I'm not going on TikTok. TikTok's bullshit. I think that was the word he said. TikTok's bullshit. And I was like, yeah, I agreed. But the problem you've got here is your music isn't. And so if you don't utilize micro content, which right at this moment, you might be watching this in 12 months time and it might be different, but at this moment, that is where you can get the most amount of free attention. If you're not utilizing that for the sake of some weird tradition or something else, you are doing your music a disservice. So whether you like a platform or whether you don't like a platform, I don't really think it should make a difference. I think it should all be about how am I going to get my music in front of a bunch of real people, not bots, real people that are going to really like your music. They're going to like you. They're going to follow you for the journey. The platform's just a vehicle. You know, I want to get from A to B. Oh, it's a bit of a clapped out car. All right. Does it take me where I want to go? Yeah, great. I'll jump in. So that's the bit. I really believe here that you have to go where the attention is. And if you're trying to fight this, if you're saying, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going where the attention is, I'm going to fight my way through it, it's either going to be a slow game or a very expensive game. Next, number 11, overthinking. You've got to stop overthinking. Overthinking is killing. And there's so many people who will watch my videos that will probably be nodding on, yeah, I overthink. I mean, as creatives, I think we all overthink to a certain degree, but the brain is wired for danger. That's what it is. You know, back in prehistoric time, you stick your head out of the cave, dinosaur comes along, so you're like, all right, the danger's real, right? I get it with the dinosaur. But right now, when it comes to releasing music, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to put something out, it's not going to do as well as you want. You can carry on promoting it. You're not going to, it's not going to make anything dangerous. So I want you to stop overthinking because it's actually doing the opposite thing. You're scared when you're overthinking. You're scared that something's going to happen. When the reality is in overthinking, the only thing you should be scared of is nothing happens. That to me is more terrifying than something happens. If something happens, I can figure a way around it. If nothing happens, that's very, very difficult. So you have to figure out a way that you're not overthinking, or just saying, do you know what, I'm going to give this a time scale. I'm going to say, look, for the next half an hour, I might tweak it, I might fiddle with it, but after that, it's got to go out. When the time is up, it's got to go out, because otherwise days, weeks go past, and all of a sudden you are doing actual physical damage to your audience, to your release, and to your music. Number 12. Stop thinking the game is Spotify. Now, I told you about the beginning about the game, but so many people are saying to me, I want to get more, in this instance, for example, I want to get more plays on Spotify. Okay, great. But that's not the game. Spotify is an outcome. It's not the outcome, it's an outcome. It is something that happens if we do well. If the song starts to work, if we can build the attention, if people start to like it, they will go to Spotify. They know where Spotify is. We don't have to really tell them. And also there's loads of other DSPs. Why do we always assume it's going to be Spotify? We might say, go to Spotify. And people go, I don't have Spotify, I got Tidal. You go, great, go there. I don't care. We know where to listen to our music, whether it's Tidal, Apple, Amazon, Spotify. But it's not the game. It's an outcome. So what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we are looking after people, and when they are ready, they will go. In the same way as if someone walks on stage and we're in the audience and we're like, yeah, and the first thing they say on the mic is, everybody, go to the bar, get a drink. We'd be like, I'm okay actually. And they'd be like, no, go to the bar, get a drink. We'd be like, I'm not an idiot. I know where the bar is. I know when I need a drink. I'm not ready for it yet. I want you to entertain me. It's the same thing. So Spotify is an outcome, but it isn't the game, if that makes sense. Number 13, learn to prioritize. Prioritizing is the most important thing. In fact, you don't want to be a busy fool. An old boss of mine once said, you've got to only do the most important things. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, that's such an obvious thing. But now I look back and I think it wasn't obvious. Everyone around me is a busy fool. And if you can say, no, I'm going to cut away 50% of the stuff that I don't need to do, I'll be concentrating on the most important things. I will skyrocket past everybody else because everyone else is doing unimportant stuff. And so if you're thinking right now, yeah, but what is the most important stuff? I'll tell you exactly what it is. The most important stuff right now is content. That's the most important thing, not music. The music is, I've done the music, I'm putting the music out. Great. If you have music that's already come out or about to come out, you've done music. Great. The content is really important because the content is where you are saying, I'm going to use the music to build me, the artist. That's why content's so important. That's how we get people to Spotify right now. The production. And by production, I don't just mean the production of the audio, although that is a part of it, but I also mean things like the video. I mean the visuals, I mean the framing, I mean the lighting, anything that is production based. And the same thing with music. If you're finding that your intro for your song is like 60 seconds and no one's listening to your music, it doesn't register until people have listened to 30 seconds. Is there a chance that people aren't getting into it because they can't get past the intro? So the production, including the arrangement, the production is very, very important. Two other priorities which are so important: habit forming and storytelling, which leads me on to the next point, is storytelling. Learn to tell a better story. The amount of time that I'm on Instagram or TikTok and someone's got this amazing song and the story that goes along with the song is just so utterly shit. And it's like, yeah, I wrote the song about my girlfriend. And I'm like, so? That's a crap story. I'm sure the song is got full of amazing stories, but the way that you've told that story is so rubbish, it doesn't inspire me to listen to the song. You gotta, you're an artist, therefore you're a storyteller. You are a lyricist, therefore you are a storyteller. So don't let yourself down when it comes to the text or the reason for someone to watch a piece of content to basically just kind of go, oh, I didn't think about that bit. That's the bit. That's the hook. That's the most important bit. So learn to tell the best story possible. Next thing here is number 15. Everything needs context. Context is a word that I probably use 15 times a day. Doesn't matter whether I'm talking to an artist, a label, a manager. Context is the most important word. Because if I turn up to my mate's house and I go, what are you watching? And he goes, Game of Thrones, season 3, episode 4. And I go, great, let's watch. I've got no clue what's going on. I'm like, why is there dragons flying around? Why did that guy's head fall off? I've got no clue. Who's that dude? Why did he just die? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. If you run your social media content like that, people will come in and go, I don't know what's going on, and they will leave. You have to give context. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to play the 1 second context game. Now, for this, all you've got to do is you've got to go into Instagram. You've got to go and check out your last 12 pieces of content, and I want you to play and pause them after 1 second. And after 1 second, be honest and say, if you have no clue who I am, would you know what you're about to watch over the next 15, 20, 30 seconds? And if you say, no, you don't have a clue who I am after this, then that's the hook. That's the bit we got to make. We've got to make something that as soon as it comes on, people say, okay, I understand. I might still leave, but at least I understand who you are, why you're in front of me, what you do, and more importantly, what I'm going to get from a consumer point of view. Next thing, number 16, artists are remarkable. Okay, so as an artist, you can't be boring. You just can't. Like, I look out the window, I see thousands of people, and I don't aspire to those people. I don't go, oh, wish I was just like you people. That's not what an artist is. An artist is a leader. An artist stands for something. An artist is interesting. And so therefore, the artist builds the community or builds the tribe because they're saying, I represent something. So if you just say, I'm just like everyone else, you better have some bloody good songs. Because otherwise, you're not representing. There are certain people that you go, Ed Sheeran, he's kind of like a normal guy. Okay, you can give exceptions to the rule, but on the whole, most of the time, artists stand for something incredible, and there'll be a certain tribe of people that say, that's just like me, that's how I feel. And that's what you got to go for. So as an artist, if you are not standing out, if you're not doing something interesting and being remarkable, then probably people are passing you by and they're not getting to your great music. They're not getting there because they haven't got to that point where they've related to you and they've connected with you and gone, wow, we're just the same. You and I are just the same. Let me go and listen to your music because I'm sure I'm going to connect with it. Artists are remarkable. Number 17, I want you to change the word DIY, because I hear this all the time. I'm like a DIY artist. I have a problem with this phrase. DIY artist should be LYI. DIY. L-I-Y. Yeah, that makes sense. DIY, do it yourself. No, it's not do it yourself. It's lead it yourself. L-I-Y, lead it yourself. You need good people. You need good people around you. You cannot do everything yourself. It's just impossible. That's why you have labels and managers and live agents and publishers and promoters and all of the other people. You can't do everything yourself. You can lead everything yourself. You can be responsible for everything yourself. But DIY, where you say, no, I've got to do everything myself, you're going to burn out. You're going to have total anxiety. It's going to be an utter nightmare. So if you are thinking nothing's working, well, maybe you've got too much on your plate. And maybe you need to start finding people that you could bring in to help you to actually help yourself, if that makes sense. Number 18, stop killing off your song. How many times do I see people go all the way up to the release, and then they do the release, and they might do a day, they might do a week, and after a while they go, it's brilliant. Right then, on to the next one. And after that, this happens all of the time where I'm working with artists, and they go, no, that's one of my old singles. So? Is it not your single? Yeah, but we've done that one. I want to do the new stuff. The problem with that is you're killing off of singles. Songs do not die. They just stop being managed by you, the artist. So if you keep bringing them to life, if you keep making content, if you keep doing performances, if you keep using the songs, you are bringing the song to life. You are reminding people, you are pushing people to the place that you want them to go, which is Spotify, because they're hearing the song. If you kill off the song and say, I'll just leave that over there, it's in the depths and depths and realms of Spotify, people are going to forget about it. So stop killing off your music. Bring it back. It's just one post. Make one post a week and be like, I'm going to bring back one of the old songs for a reason. Because why? Because I like it. Because I wrote it. Because it's really, really good. Stop killing off your songs. Number 19. Understand the music industry. So many people say things about the music industry, and it makes me just think, where did you hear that? Like, how did you learn this stuff? Who's telling you this stuff? It's so weird. So understand, this is your industry. You need to understand your industry. Let me tell you something. There are so many opportunities right now for artists in every genre. There is so much money to be made as an artist from those opportunities. but only if you understand your industry, only if you understand the game, only if you understand how to do those things. Otherwise, all you're doing is you're just trying to get people to know who you are. Brilliant. Well, what are you going to do next? So we have to start thinking about how you're going to understand the music industry and understand how you are going to get those opportunities, how you are going to take action, or get other people, more importantly, to take action. Number 20 is the hook is the chorus. The hook is not the song, okay? Now, when it comes to the world we live in a 1 second song, 1 second life. That's just it. That's where we're at. I need to see it, understand it, take it in, and want to decide whether I'm leaving you or I'm coming back in. Yes or no. That's all I've got on TikTok. Yep, I'm gone. Yep, there is another one. Yep, nope, don't like you. Nope. Oh, I'll watch this for a little bit. That's it. That's all I've got. So therefore, you have to hook people in with the most hooky part of the song. That's probably going to be the chorus. It might even be the second part of the chorus. But you can't say, wait for it, because people don't do that. So as soon as you say, wait for it, like YouTube, for example, I can say, what's up, guys? Damian Keys here. Welcome back to the channel. TikTok, I can't. They've already left. Everyone's gone. They're just like, hello, guys, I'm out. Give me the thing instantly. Number 21, work to the release date is half the job, okay? When you're saying, get ready, my release is coming, get ready, then your release comes out. That's at the point where people can go and listen to your music. Then I go into people's Instagram or people's TikTok and I'm like, oh, you went missing after that. Why? They were like, well, the release is out. But that's the point where things start. So if you go and talk to people at TikTok, they'll tell you when it comes to release day, don't put one piece of content out. It's release day. Go put 3 or 4 or 5. That's the big day. But then from there on, that's when you're driving the traffic. That's when you're saying, here's the song. You're not saying go to Spotify. You're saying song. Because that's where people go, oh, can I listen to it now? Yes, you can. For the last 3 weeks, can I listen to it now? No, it's not out. But I'm just trying to get it in your brain. It's after the release where you do the hard work. So please, for the love of God, stop saying, get ready, and we live happily ever after. It doesn't work like that. It says, get ready, now we're ready, now let's go. That's when the promotion starts. And that's when, someone said the other day, like, how many pieces of content should I make if I'm going to make content, after that? And I was like, 100. And they looked at me like I'd literally just taken a poo on the floor. They were like, 100 on one song. Yeah, 100. That's what promotion is. Imagine if I went, I'm going to go on tour. How many gigs should I do? Well, how many can you do? 18 months? You go, 18? I was thinking 3. No, that's what promotion is. We get out there and we go again and we go again. Every time you're posting on platforms like TikTok, 30, 40, 50, 60% of people are seeing you for the very, very first time. So go again. Day in, day out. Just change the context, change the look, change the location, change what you're wearing, change the text, change anything that you could do, but keep that song in there and keep on promoting it. Next, number 22, set up the party. This is a big thing. Attention is different to retention. Attention, right, is getting people to say, okay, I saw that, great. Getting people to come back because they like it, that's tough. Attention is so easy. I can put $5 into a post and I can get a bunch of people to see it. Good. Who cares? They've forgotten about it 5 minutes later. To get people to come in and go, this is good, I'm hitting the follow button because I want to come back again, that's tough, okay? So you got to set the party up. You got to make sure that when they come in, the hero picture, the bio, the links, the highlights, all of this stuff makes sense that they're going to connect with you straight away. If they're in the same tribe, if we're in the same community, I need to know that straight away. Imagine if I'm looking around the door of a new club and the lights are off and no one's in there and it's cold. I'm like, well, I'm not coming in. It's awful. Whereas if I poke my head around the door, the lights are on, it's nice and warm, the music's playing, everyone looks really cool. I'm like, oh, I might come in. This looks quite good. So you got to set up that party. Number 23, don't make me work or don't make people work. There's nothing worse than when someone just goes, yeah, go and check out my music on Spotify. Just search for me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Send me a link or I'm out. Same thing when it comes to your socials. I want links everywhere. I want whether it's a link tree, I want it on Spotify. I want it in the descriptions. I want it in the SEO. I want it on your email. I want it when you text people. I want you to send links. Don't make people work for it, because if you're making people work for it, the only person that's going to suffer is you and your numbers, because people go, oh, I can't be asked to go and search for it. Just give me the button I can press. And number 24, Attach the music to energy, okay? Now, when I say this, I'm talking about gigs, I'm talking about syncs, I'm talking about content, I'm talking about stories. Music has always and will always be attached to something. Back in the day, it was attached to a music video. Back in the day, it was attached to vinyl. Back in the day, it was attached to CD or cassettes or something else or gigs. You have to attach the music to something because that gives it the energy. Obviously, we can still listen to music, but you, when you're promoting it, need to attach it to something. So do stuff outside of just digital marketing. And number 25, I want you to improve your production. Now, what I mean by that is not necessarily financially, but I want you to think, when it comes to the content creation, I want you to think about the lighting, I want you to think about the framing, and I want you to think about the arrangement. Even right now, like this is my little setup. I've got 4 lights, in fact 5, because there's one behind me. Why? Because I just want to try and give you the best experience that I can. Do I want to have a room full of lights? No, I couldn't give a shit, but that's the way it works. So the framing, the lighting, the setup, the audio, the sound, you're constantly trying to improve it. The same thing when it comes to your music, the arrangement. Is it starting straight away? Am I doing the best thing for the people? Or is this just all about me? If it's about everybody else, there is so much more chance that they will be into it. They will come in, they will hit the follow button, and over a period of time, they will find your music. All right then, so if you fast forwarded to the end of the video so you can get this in bullet point form, here it is. Number 1, the game is building a fan base. It's not going viral. Calendar is king. You've got to guide your week with that calendar. Consistency is a habit. It's like eating. You have to make it a routine. Make the strategy for you. This is not for anybody else. This is you and your strategy. Understand your demographic and study your audience every single week. Next, try again. Give things time to bed in and make sure you're not giving up too early. But once you've figured out it doesn't work, at that point, change it up. Next, decide what your audience gets from you. This is your audience and you get to decide it. But if they like it, they'll hit the follow button. If they don't, they won't. Make sure they understand. Stop advertising in your content. It is breaking your content. It is breaking the numbers. Next, go where the attention is. The attention is where it says X marks the spot. Go there. Stop overthinking. You don't have time for overthinking. The music is to promote you. You are not promoting your music. The music is there to promote you. Learn to prioritize. Prioritization is absolutely key. Only do the most important things. Improve your storytelling and use the storytelling skill. Explain your why so people have your context of who you are and why you're doing it. And the context is so important. Next, be remarkable. Stand out. You are an artist. You are a leader. You are not a singer-songwriter. It's a very, very different thing. Find the best people you can to help. This doesn't have to be do it yourself. Your song doesn't die. It just stops being managed. You have to keep on managing your song. Allocate time to learn your industry. This is your industry. There's money to be made, but only if you understand it. Always start with the hook. We live in a 1-second world, so you have to get that hook in within 1 second. Release day is the start. It is not the end. We do not work up to release day. We work up to release day, and that's when we really kick into gear. Then set up your party. This is your party. You have to set it up, but people have to understand what that party is as soon as they come in. Next, don't make people work. Make sure there are links. Don't make me go and have to search for you via typing in your name. I won't find you. Next, think outside of social media. Attach your music to opportunities. That's what makes music so much fun, is you get to use your music and do fun stuff. And lastly, improve all the production, the video, the visuals, the audio, and do that on socials and do it on audio. And then do this and then go again, and then go again, and then go again. Now, if you are hungry for more, then you need to go and check out one of these 2 videos. But before you do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, because this one actually took me quite a while to write all this stuff out. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. More importantly, come and subscribe, but then go and check out one of these videos. I'll catch you soon.